Hi everyone, thank you so much for waiting for us, and thank you for joining us today. I really wanted to bring Val, my good friend and co-founder of Sun Solar Solutions here in the Valley, probably one of the top companies right now in solar sales. So anytime we do these live presentations or any information that we try to provide to you, we would love to be as accurate as possible. So that's why I'm always going to try to get directly to the source, so you get the information directly for someone who deals with this on a daily basis and knows exactly what's going on in this space. So the reason we were a little bit late, we were waiting for APS to finish their open whole meeting that they're still in right now. So we don't really have that completed, but I know he's going to be able to answer some great questions either way. So one of the questions that I want to start with, because I know for us in the real estate industry, what clients always ask me about is two really big questions. One is, does solar add value to a property? And if it does, where can we see that happening? Because it just seems like whenever we try to go sell a home with solar, it's hard to justify that, and we would love to be able to put that into the value, because it's 100%, it's an added value to the home. So what can you tell us about that?
Sure, and thanks for having me on, Robert.
No, thank you.
So there's a couple ways to go solar, right? People can either lease the system or they can purchase the system, right? From what I have seen, and ASU actually did a study on this a couple years back on houses with solar and taking a look at the value. They found that people that purchased a system that was an owned system, that it did actually bring up the value. And what they looked at, sell solar, right? And they saw it was about a 4 to 6% increase of what is sold for versus similar house that did.
Perfect.
Okay, purchase, right? Now, when it comes to a lease, it's a little bit different, right? Because there's actually, since you don't own the system, it's not going to add actual dollar value to the house.
That makes sense.
But what this study actually found, and what they did is they looked at SRP, because SRP had a big change in solar a couple of years ago, which is what APS is literally working on right now while we're doing this, right?
Okay.
And they found that houses in SRP territory that had grandfathered solar actually sold for about 10% more.
Wow, okay.
Right?
So that's...
And the reason for that is, again, if you get grandfathered in, which is what you can still do right now, up until September 1st, and we'll talk a little bit about that.
Perfect.
But you can still get grandfathered in now. And so people that are getting grandfathered in are not only getting grandfathered for solar, but they're getting grandfathered in on the current rate plans from APS. Whether you're on standard, whether you're on time of use, whatever it might be,
wow.
you actually get to keep that for 20 years. And it stays with the house. Okay, so that's what when I'm talking about real estate, when you sell the house, you're not just selling the house, you're also selling that grandfathering with the house.
That you have in there.
So, and like I said, in SRP, because you can still go solar in SRP, it's just not as beneficial as it used to.
Right.
And APS is doing the exact same thing. So I really do think more than even in the past, now people that have grandfathering or are gonna get grandfathered by the deadline, there's going to be real value to that,
yes.
Even if it's a lease system.
It should be. It should be.
It absolutely should be. Right.
And let me just repeat that, because that's huge. I didn't know what that meant. Mm-hmm. So I understand that you get grandfathered in because you have the solar, but you get grandfathered in for those rates.
Right.
Because we know
let me clarify a little bit on that. So you get grandfathered in for the rate plan.
Right.
Right. So now, the rates on those plans could adjust. Okay. But they'll adjust the same as everybody else, whether you have solar or not.
Perfect.
But what's important, again, for example, right now, if you go solar with a full offset system, meaning that the system is big enough to cover all of your energy usage in a year, you go on a standard rate plan.
Okay.
Which basically means there's no more time of use. You don't have to sit there and juggle when you do your laundry. You don't have to wait till 7 p.m. And all of those things, right? So that means that you actually get to stay on that standard rate plan for the whole 20 years. And when you sell the house, the new homeowner also gets it as well.
Takes advantage of that for the remaining of the 20 years.
Right.
Awesome. So that's a huge point. And as you can see, I mean, if anybody, I mean, it doesn't. You don't even have to be an adult to understand that to have solar on your home, especially if it's purchased,
right?
So you have no other payments going to a lease or anything like that. That's a huge value to any home, right? Your electric bill is lower. It definitely is going to increase the amount of savings that you have in that home, so it should increase the value of the home. So that would make sense.
Right, and here's the thing, like I say, whether it's monetary or it's just the value of, making it more valuable than the next person, as in the appeal of the home.
Yeah.
Because the way that we talk to a lot of customers too, let's say if you have a leased solar system, or let's say you have a finance system and you're saving, $40, $50 a month, right, versus what money you'd already be paying to APS anyway. And then somebody's looking at buying your house versus buying the neighbor's house.
Exactly.
Your house could literally be $500 to $600 cheaper a year to live in.
Exactly.
So that's,
it's definitely an added value,
Right,
and we're hoping that soon in the real estate industry they will come up with a way where an appraisal is going to show that a home with solar should have a little bit extra value.
And I think that's where you see it. I think the mortgage industry a little bit and appraisals, they just haven't caught up to it.
Exactly.
But there's so many houses that have solar now that they have to adjust to
Yep,
it, and more people are going to be getting it. So I think you will see that catching up.
I hope so,
in the future.
because it definitely should be there.
Yep.
Perfect. So the second big question that I have is, when somebody sells a home with a solar system that's leased,
Right.
how easy is that transition for the new buyer, and will that make it a little bit tougher to purchase, or is it pretty smooth transaction from what you've seen?
From everything I've seen, it's smooth, because it's changed a lot from what it used to be.
Okay.
Like, for example, we're partnered with Sunrun, and with Sunrun, they guarantee that the new homeowner is going to qualify.
Wow.
So there's actually no real.
That's huge.
What they do is they do a credit check, but if it does, it's more a formality in a sense, because even if it doesn't pass, it goes through.
Wow.
So there's really no. It's a guaranteed.
I didn't know
transfer.
that. That's great.
Yeah, and what's funny? That's what we see a lot of that from people.
Just say it, from realtors that are not yet educated in the field
But
of
it's
solar.
not- it's not
We're all a
necessarily-
little bit
so-
behind, so that's why I'm here.
So
to get
so
educated.
it's not necessarily realtors, but even just the general public. Like, one of the biggest things that we see with solar is, people think that they're going to have a solar bill, like whether they do financing or whether they do a lease, they think they're going to have this, $140, $150 bill, and then they think that that's in addition to their regular APS bill, which is not.
Right.
That you're basically replacing a bill that you'd already be paying, right? Your electric bill is not optional.
Right.
It's not something like, well, I could cancel. You're never going to cancel it, right?
You wish, right?
Right. So you got to make that payment anyway. So
Yeah.
if you're going to make a payment, why not make a lower payment?
Exactly.
Because with a full offset system, your APS bill should go down to anywhere from around $18 to $22 a month.
Nice.
Even in the summer,
Nice.
August, July, it's going to be around $20.
Wow.
So
That
it
would be awesome.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
So I hope that helps. I know that helps me. I definitely learned something already. And before we close this up, I do want to ask you, what did you see happening in this APS discussion that they had today? I know it's not finished yet,
Right.
and if anybody's interested in finding out the final result of what they discussed, please let us know in the comments below, and we'll send you a link.
Yep.
But so far, what have you seen them discuss, and has anything changed, or are they accomplishing anything?
There's one thing that changed. So a lot of people probably don't know, what's going on with this. APS has a rate case that they've been working on for at least a year now. I think since June of last year, and it affects solar and regular rate payers, right? So if you don't have solar, APS is changing all of the rate plans to new plans, right?
Which are higher, I'm sure.
Which are much higher. I'm actually surprised that people there hasn't been more attention to this. If you actually look at the rates, apples to apples, of their old off-peak rate and on-peak rate, in the summer it's actually going up 78%.
What?
Which is crazy, because you tell people that number and it seems so high that it's wrong, but it's literally, if you look at the rate sheet, it's going from 6.1 cents to 10.9, which is a 78% increase.
I'm sure they don't look at it that way.
Yeah,
they don't promote it.
They don't actually. Yeah, they don't promote that, right? So this is going to go in effect. What they were proposing, what they were asking for, is September 1st to go into effect, right? As of the meeting that's going on right now they're actually wanting to go into effect on the 19th, which is in 4 days.
Faster?
Yeah, right. So they wanted it to go on the 1st. Now they're wanting to move it up, right? Now, if you have, like we talked about before, if you have solar, or if you get solar by the 1st, because they're actually going to, from everything I'm hearing, we'll see how they vote, but they're still going to leave September 1st for the grandfathering. It won't affect you, so you won't have to go on these new rate plans, and your rates actually won't go up in this rate case.
Nice.
They're going to look at it again. So their next rate case is in 2020, so that's when they want to increase rates again, and they are going to look at both grandfather people and current people at that time. But right now, if you do go solar by the 1st, you do get grandfathered into your rate plan, and it's going to you can still get in. And
Perfect.
for people that don't, like I said, it's going to be a big change that I don't think people are really used to. A lot of times, or in the past, APS would grandfather you in on the plan. So there's still people that are on the old 9 to 9 plan, which has been gone for years.
Wow. Okay.
Because normally APS, unless you called to change or you moved, they would let you stay on the plan. Now they're transitioning everybody to the new plans, unless you have solar. If you have solar, then you get grandfathered in.
Perfect. So what I'm hearing is get solar, or if you just have questions about what that would mean, just click on their link for Sun Solar Solutions and get in touch with any of them. They'll answer any questions you have. But if you do it quickly before September 1st so you can get grandfathered in and be able to have those savings for 20 years, right? That's how long you would lock you in?
They're going to be grandfathered for 20 years. And like Robert said, definitely reach out to our office. Our number here is 602-773-6675, or go to our site. Or I can definitely help out directly as well. Even if you just have questions, I recommend everybody to at least look at it, because if you don't have the information, it's hard to make a decision, right?
Yes.
At least you have the information, and you can go from there and make a decision on, okay, no, I want to stay with APS, or I want to go solar, right?
Yep.
So
it's easy. So let us know what you think. Let us know if you have any questions. I'll put his information down below in the comments so you guys can call the office directly for any questions. Thank you again so much for watching. Val, thank you
guys.
for all
Thank
the
you, Robert.
information.
All right.
Have a good day.
Thanks,
and we'll
guys.
see you soon. Bye-bye.